Little inside baseball to start today's stream. The B-roll wasn't live. That was weird. And I had a hot mic. That was even more weird. But hey, we're here for real. Well, in a virtual sense. Happy Sunday, everyone, and I'm Gary Gatto, and welcome to P1's broadcasting of Round 2 of Season 12, the transition season of the longest continuously running Dallara I-05 IndyCar League on iRacing today. It's the Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series as we come to you from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Magic Mile in the Granite State. Live free or die for the BJ Manufacturing 200. Of course, mimicking the 97 Pennzoil 200 won by Robbie Buell in the green Quaker State car from Team Menards, and that was my wedding weekend. That's how long ago that race was. But appropriate on Valentine's Day weekend. Joining me in the booth this season, he's a 5-time winner in the CIS. Finished 4th in the championship last season. My broadcast partner for the Dark Horse DW12 Series. And you also hear him on our coverage of Area 51 on Tuesday nights. It is the Catalyst, Andrew Wood. Andrew, good to have you here. Welcome back. Glad you're feeling better. And it feels like you and I were kind of just at this place in the Elite Racing League for 225 laps just over a week ago. And we're back again, but for a little bit more mercifully, 200 laps tonight in a race that these cars, actually last time we went to New Hampshire in real life, we're in these cars. So a little bit of a 1-to-1 ratio that we get to compare here today.
Yeah, Gary, definitely. It was back in 2011, and I attended that race. I mentioned that on a couple of streams already, so people might get tired of hearing me say that, of course. But I was at the big 2011 IndyCar race, drove up right before it started raining, and wondered if the race would even happen. And, of course, some of you may know what the outcome of that one was. But, yeah, so, yes, P1 Broadcasting obviously ran the newer generation of these cars. Well, P1 broadcasted the Elite Series as they ran the newer generation of these cars. I actually also was not at that race, so I am kind of flying a little bit blind based on just recency bias here. So I'm just going to be able to talk about how these cars operate, and these cars are kind of a handful, as we talked about in the last race. The low speed kill switch and everything like that these drivers have to maintain and everything. And these cars will be operating in much lower gears than we saw at the last race at Michigan as well. So that's going to bring a little bit of a challenge to folks during this whole entire 200 mile race.
Yes.
I got my numbers on
I was like, no more 300-mile laps, 300 lap or 300-mile races. That was Richmond.
Yeah, it was stuck in my head, yes, but that's where I had to. I'm like, I wouldn't have just pulled the 300 out of my head for no reason.
There are the points on the screen right there. Jan Hoffman, of course, by winning at Michigan, is your points leader. Then Ethan Agan and Julian Altena, your top three. We do have, we'll talk about the master class drivers, the rookie drivers. Of course, we also have a road course cup and an oval cup over the course of this little transition season. Only 8 races, 4 ovals, 4 road courses, and we're starting off the season here with the Super Speedway at Michigan and our first short oval of the season here at New Hampshire. Let's remove those and bring up that schedule for you, and there you go, as we are in the middle of warm-ups right here, and we will get gritting here in a little bit and go racing in about 3.5 minutes. We will go to Montreal and Circuit Gilles Villeneuve and round 3, and then round 4 we'll head out to Portland to go to Portland International. Then we go back to the ovals, a couple of intermediate super speedway style type tracks of Las Vegas and Homestead, Miami. And then we'll wrap up at an odd Willow Springs race that will kind of mimic, I believe, previous Riverside races. And Mexico City will round out the season for season 12, the transition season of the Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series. Let's get the schedule off the board there and show you tonight's starting lineup.
just a quick comment there, Gary.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how these cars will race at Willow Springs. The Classic IndyCar Series has gone there before, and it was a little bit of an adventure, a little bit chaotic. It's a track that's not really made for these cars too well, so that was a fun one to experience for sure. But it's always worth giving it a second try and see how the racing is. And of course, Mexico City is a new a track on the iRacing circuit here, and those cars never actually went to the Mexico City. That was the Champ cars, I believe. So it's a very, very technical track also. A couple long straightaways and a couple little twisty bits. So these cars don't really handle a lot of right turns very well. It's a right turn oriented track. So that's going to be another very, very cool one for us to watch.
All right, and the starting lineup, Roden Eftink, who did a great deal of laps in practice, is your pole sitter with a 160.1. Pressey at a 159.9. So Eftink, the only driver in the 160 mile per hour bracket. Pressey making his first start in the series today. Lines up on the outside of the front row. A little dark now. Looks like the cloud's gone behind them. We'll adjust the filters here real quick. Julian Altena, third in the standings, third on the racetrack. First in our hearts, of course. He is lining up third with a 159.7. Then we got Johnny Garrett in fourth. Then Amon Lal and Simmons in row 3. So Altena Autosports representing rows 1, 2, and 3, and a couple teammates also in rows 2 and 3 as well. Then we got Strauss and Giacometti in row 4. Our defending series champion Thomas Mustanen and Laura Deitz. This is the first female driver in the series in 10 years. Laura, welcome to the series, and she qualifies in the 10th position in row 5. Randy Shoemake and Santos in row 6. VJO and Stumi in row 7. Hoffman and Groscher. Although Robert not going to be racing tonight, but he's going to show up because of his high I rating. Because he doesn't qualify, he'll be in that position. So everyone will kind of float up a position here. We have a couple penalties as well. Vogelsang will move up a spot. Hutton will move up a spot. Barnacow will move up a spot. Aiken will move up a spot. And that is it. And the end of line penalties for today, they are, once again, Andrew, do you remember?
Yeah, that will be Vogelsang, Hutton, Barnacow.
Okay.
Those drivers that did not qualify, they just simply sat out of qualifying. So they'll start right at the back there. And Aiken was the other one that I forgot there.
Yeah.
Gary, one cool thing that I just noticed actually is this track typically doesn't have a lot of attendance to it. A lot of drivers don't own this track. A lot of drivers don't particularly find the nuances of this track satisfying. So typically when we go to a New Hampshire race, we don't really see a lot of drivers that show up. And I want to say that so far we're 2 races in and we already have close to 20 drivers in the field. And that kind of mimics what our typical Classic IndyCar Series grid will look like on a decent day. So I do want to thank all drivers for coming out here today. And I'm really, really hoping to see a really good show with 20 cars out here on this small 1 mile oval.
And we have a blinker in the field, but hopefully that gets fixed. Yeah, about 20 cars is kind of what the IRL regularly fielded here on a regular basis when they did come here in 96, 97, and 98, and then again in 2011. The CART and IndyCar have raced here only 8 times in history. They raced here every year from 92 to 98, and the final time, and the only time this century they've raced here is 2011, the race that you went to, Andrew. It's the famous Will Power double bird race. The series has not returned since, and it's kind of puzzling because I think they would do reasonably well here in the IR18s if they were to return here. But they have not returned since. Andre Ribeiro holds the overall track record with a speed of 177.4, which we weren't even close to with these cars. He set that back in 95 en route to winning the pole and the race, which was Honda's first IndyCar win. That was back in 95. Richie Hearn, friend of the program, sat on the pole here when the IRL came here for the very first time in 96 with a speed of 175. And in 8 IndyCar races here at Loudon, spread equally between CART and the Indy Racing. There are 8 different winners. There are 8 races, 8 different winners. Bobby Rahal, Nigel Mansell, Andre Ribeiro, Al Unser Jr., Scott Sharp, Robbie Buell, Tony Stewart, and Ryan Hunter-Ray. Team Menard's the only team that holds an edge with team wins with 2. Getting ready to go racing for 200 laps, 200 miles. Up the speed, watch the low-end torque, and we seem to be rolling all in one piece into turn 1 for the BJ Manufacturing 200.
Yeah, great start there, Gary. I was actually expecting a little bit more, I don't want to say chaos and drama, but a little more wheel spin, a little bit more what we saw from the last race. But everyone really, really took their time getting up to speed, and it's unfortunate to lose a couple spots, especially at a track like this where track position is so important. But everyone stayed safe, and you have to be in it to continue going.
And in his first race in the series, turning his first competitive laps, leading them is Nicholas Pressey, as he currently leads into turn 3. It is Julian Altena, Roden FT, who started from the pole, is back to 3rd, and Johnny Garrett now in 4th.
Watching our reigning champion Thomas Mustonen going at it with Randy Shoemake back here. Very, very poor qualifying from Mustonen. We were used to seeing him up at the front in pretty much every race, and right now he's battling to just get to the top 10 even.
Here are your conditions on the racetrack. 76 on the ambient, 108 on the track temperature.
Drivers have mostly went single file up and down the field, except for, obviously, we were watching Mustonen and Shoemake battle before. It looks like Laura is trying to make an inside run there on Andrea Giacometti, who I think might have scraped the wall last lap exiting turn 4, but even if he had done that, then not really too much to worry about there. But Laura's going to pick up a spot here.
Yeah. Oh,
contact.
Contact up front. F-Tink going to the back. Not sure if he might have smacked the wall off the corner.
I think there was a little bit of a
and we're wrecking off at 4. Amon Law involved in that. 2 of the Team Watson racing cars. So let's go back and see what happened here. It starts back in turn 2 with the first incident. I don't think they're both related. It's right around Roden Eftik, our pole sitter, and he just floats up.
A little bit of contact from Johnny.
Oh, a little netcode contact. And then where do we see the next round of contact? It was one of the Team Watson racing cars.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look at Johnny.
Oh,
Garrett
and
again,
it's Johnny Garrett again making contact with Amon Law, and that's going to send.
That's Strauss.
It's going to send 16 around.
Pardon me. No, it was Logan. Logan Simmons, number 92, that went around, and then Strauss joined the party afterwards. It looks like from the spinning car.
Let's watch this again. Just netcode Johnny Garrett, and then he goes to the inside and netcodes. I mean, just 2 awful netcode situations. I don't think Johnny Garrett actually really hit anybody at all on that lap, but it looks like 2 incidents unrelated in turn 2 and off of 4 all around Johnny Garrett, and that puts Logan into the wall. I believe his day is done. Amon Law is sideways. His left rear is toast. He is done. Jan Hoffman, our previous race winner, had to come to a complete stop on the front straight. Barkenau gets through. Aiken gets through. Vogelzang gets through. Jared Ray Hutton had to come to a complete stop. He, our pole sitter from our last race, he is now rolling. So a bit of chaos here in the early going here at New Hampshire, Andrew.
Yeah, you were mentioning of course, Johnny Garrett wasn't trying to cause any trouble there. And yeah, that's one thing. Johnny Garrett's the first guy in this league that will, take ownership of any incident that he's involved with, or not just take ownership or blame, but he wants to talk everything out and make sure that there was no wrongdoing. He's learned a lot in the several years he's been racing in this league, and he takes every single bit of criticism very positively. But unfortunately, we do see a lot of these netcode incidents happen in this league from time to time, and it is very, very frustrating, especially when you're racing very close to one another. We're all racing from different parts of the world, which makes it very, very difficult, of course. And there's definitely no sort of malicious intent or any way to really get around that sort of incident. It's just you got to hope that you're giving each other enough room. And to have 2 netcode incidents in one half of a lap, that's got to be frustrating for everyone involved. So I'm really, really sorry to see that.
And we are back to green flag racing at lap 9 of 200. It is Pressy still. Altena pressing Pressy in the second position. And Garrett, despite the netcode incidents, still hanging on to third. Roden F-Tink is in fourth. And Laura making her debut today. So 2 drivers making debuts up in the top 5. Pressy in first, Laura in fifth. And they bracket both ends of the top 5 right now.
Trying to find where I was looking for where Mustanen line up and all that. So now Mustanen has moved his way into the top 10 officially. He's now P8, hopefully picking up a couple more spots as some of his teammates unfortunately have now exited the race. He's going to be carrying the torch for the Team Watson crew at least. But yeah, very, very nice to see these new drivers showing what they could do out front. And perhaps a lot of the regular series drivers may not have thought that there'd be a chance that they'd see these new drivers racing as well as they have. So it'll just kind of light up the competition even further for future races if this should continue.
Jan Hoffman decided to come down during that chaos to pit road and top off the tank. That might be beneficial for him if we go green here, seeing that the field is already thinned down a little bit. Might be beneficial to him if we stay green, we go green flag pit stops. He might inherit the lead depending on his pace. Watching a battle here, Vogelzang and Stumi going into turns 3 and 4. But track position is everything. We saw in the Elite Racing League race here in the IR18s, passing was tough. It was, in fact, there wasn't really even a pass for the lead on the racetrack for the win. The winning pass, it was actually done by virtue of a caution just coming out at the right time for the driver that stayed out the longest, and they picked up the win. So passing here on this racetrack, not easy to do. You need to do it very early in your runs. Late in the runs, it's kind of you're at the nature and the circumstance of the driver in front of you possibly making a mistake in order to pull off a pass. Really, rarely you could do it by superior handling, although this is open setup race, so you can work on these cars through the course of this 200-mile event.
Well, we also talk about the newer car having a lot more aero bits to it that produce a lot more aero wash to the cars behind. And yes, it is a little bit difficult to follow in these cars for longer periods of time, but it is possible to get up behind a driver, and really, you're right. It is hard to really throw the car in there and have a lot of stability and hope that you have enough aerodynamics to keep the car planted and straight without breaking grip. But I think that a lot of it just comes down to patience in this car. Whereas a place like Michigan, where you're just full throttle the whole time, you're actually using your feet and using a little more of the steering wheel to drive the car here. So this track compared to Michigan, for example, like we were at, you actually can try and outsmart the car ahead of you a little bit if you feel like you have a little bit more pace. So a little bit, just wanted to bring it up for the slight nuance difference between the two IndyCar body styles there. It definitely is much, much harder to ride close in the newer version of this car.
Riding with Laura Dietz. He is racing our pole sitter, Roden F-Tink. Got underneath him in turns 3 and 4. Pulled up alongside, unable to pull off the pass. Now back in single file.
And right behind them, we have Mustanen still in this nice battle for P7, which is kind of really playing into your hands, Gary, of not being able to make any nice moves to get their way forward. Lucas Santos just had a big moment at it too there, and that opens up the door for Mustanen a little bit. Didn't quite get alongside like he wanted it, but Randy Shoemake is also lurking in the background there, waiting for some drama for the two cars ahead of him to possibly pick up a couple more spots there.
This is an open setup race developed by the teams and drivers and the IR05 community. The 1 mile paperclip flat shaped. It's a 1 mile paperclip shaped flat oval. That's easy for me to say. We're, for the sake of making everything easy, we're measuring the track at 1 mile, although when the Indy Racing League and CART came here, CART measured the racetrack and in all races, CART and the Indy Racing League in all races with the exception of the 2011 race measured this racetrack at 1.058 miles. In 2011, they measured the track at 1.025 miles. The track's the same distance. It's not growing. It's not stretching. But that's just how they chose to measure the track as Mustanen gets around Lucas Santos and moves up to 7th. So for the sake of argument, we're doing 200 laps, 200 iRacing miles today. But if we are mimicking the 97 race, we are doing 211.6 miles if we use that measurement. 4 sets of tires, 1 in the car, 3 in the pits, 100% fuel. Remember, these cars hold more fuel than the IR18. They hold 22 gallons instead of the 18 on the IR18. No fast repair. Pit road speed limit is 45 miles per hour. We expect anywhere between a 2-stop and a 3-stop strategy. At least one driver has decided to come to pit road already to top up their tank, and that is Jan Hoffman. We will see how that reflects for him. As we get later into this run, we're still about another 40 laps away at the minimum for these leaders to come down pit road for scheduled service, as Pressey now pulls out to an 0.8 of a second lead over Julian Altena.
Sorry, Gary. I'm actually just trying to think of a fun new graphic we could do for when you start doing these very, very trivial facts that you could just pop right there on the screen that, just kind of one of those flashy, like comic book type fonts, and that'll really give the viewers a nice way to sort of tune into the whole smorgasbord of info. That's actually very interesting. I didn't really know that there was 2 different measurements, especially from how the track was measured. And it's, of course, there's different ways of doing it, right? There's staying all the way to the outside versus the inside, and it's usually somewhere in the middle or something like that. Perhaps there's a little more insight on that one.
Yeah, every series is a little bit different. Like stock cars, they might choose to do it in the middle of the track all the way around and measure it at that distance. Some series might actually, you're right, measure it at the bottom lane through the corners and then float out to the top near the wall like we're seeing right now with the cars going down the backstretch. So every series measures the racetrack different. It's really weird. Like CART used to measure Fontana, and the Indy Racing League, when they went there, measured it 2 miles every single year, every year, with the exception of 1. And that was in 2000 when they set the world closed course speed record there. They actually, FT gets wide and loose off of 2. He's going to the inside of the racetrack. He might be coming to pit road. Or is he trying to recover?
I think he's just trying to get his bearings back. That was a very, very nice save from the slide, and also very, very heads up from Laura to just hold position there. Unfortunately, Laura and Rodin both are going to lose a few spots there, but at the same time, that we're all still going.
Yeah, Mustanen gets around Laura. Move Mustanen up to 5th now. So I was saying on the Auto Club distance, in 2000, CART measured the place at bigger than 2 miles, 2.029 miles. And that's what the world closed course. Whoa! As Laura floats up on Thomas. Thomas tries to get a little extra room there off the corner exit. But the world closed course speed record is actually based off 2.20 or 2.029 miles instead of 2 miles that we normally see Fontana measured at every other time. So it's very weird. Car on pit road. Barnacow deciding to come in early for an early pit stop here and maybe get off these tires and make some aero changes.
I was actually just noticing that Barnacow had been running quite slow compared to the rest of the field the last, I don't know, since we went back to green, basically. So I'm checking to see if there's any apparent damage on the car. I don't think I see any, so perhaps you're right. The car may just be a little bit undrivable. These cars are very, very fragile and rigid, as we've discussed multiple times. So perhaps we just got to throw a little bit more either front wing, rear wing on there to get a little bit more grip and a little bit more confidence, and hopefully that lap time comes back up.
And stickers and send it, as the podcast is. So there we watched our defending series champion Thomas Mustanen now up 4 spots into 5th. Giacometti in 4th, up 4 spots as well. In fact, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, all up 4 spots. Your biggest gainer, though, Jared Ray Hutton. He is up 7 spots and looking for another underneath our pole sitter, who is faded now to 9th.
Barnicow's back underway. You see him there exiting turn 1 and 2 as that big pack comes through. So let's see if Barnicow has a little bit better luck this time on this set of tires, and perhaps a couple of changes to the car as well. You're right. Jared Ray Hutton is kind of on the move. He was pretty much staying patient and staying solid. He had a little bit of issues last race.
Slides up in front of Roden, and they kind of almost do a little side check there, side by side, into turns 1 and 2, and Roden FT gets the spot back. Now Jared underneath Roden. Oh, we got a car spinning off of 2, and that is Barnicow. He gives a slight Valentine. No, I don't think he did a slight Valentine's Day kiss to the inside, but he does do a toe, and he goes back to the pits. But we are now under caution for the second time today.
Yeah, sounds like that car might just be undrivable at this point. So came into the pits, tried to make some changes off strategy, came out, and the car is now looped. So there was definitely a reason why the driver was running pretty slow prior to the pit stop. So perhaps the car is just not compliant, and unfortunately, it looks like the day might be over for Barnicow.
And we'll probably see a lot of cars come to pit road. If you enjoy P1's coverage of the Sim Gaming Expo's classic IndyCar Series and respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so to miss out on future P1 iRacing broadcasts. Today's New Hampshire 200 from New Hampshire Motor Speedway is proudly sponsored by BJ Manufacturing. BJ Manufacturing Company provides high-quality machining, welding, and fabrication work in Riverside, California, home of that former Riverside Raceway. To learn more, check out their links in the description. Julian Altena stays out for the track position, and from what we've seen here in previous races in other formulas, other IndyCar formulas here on this racetrack, Andrew, that might not be a bad move from Julian as Pressey comes down pit road for service, but Julian's going to stay out and keep that track position, and he's not the only driver doing that. Johnny Garrett, Giacometti, and Dietz all stay out. Andrew Aiken as well. So the top 5, all people decide not giving up that track position. It's too valuable here.
Well, it's also still not even really halfway through the stint. We're just getting close to halfway through the stint now. Remember, we had some yellows prior to this as well. So I think that we're probably going to see cars go till mid-80s or so before we see them down pit road using a full tank. So only on lap 36 right now. It's really not a bad idea to just stay out. If you're comfortable with how the car is running as it is, and you don't want to have to deal with the fresh tires and the heavy fuel load, it's actually not a bad idea. And perhaps you could run a bit faster lap times as well, just keeping yourself a little bit lighter in the car and everything. So I don't think this is a bad strategy at all.
Yeah, I think it's a very good call. In fact, the Little Eagle Racing team pretty much did the same thing in the Elite Racing League when we did their broadcast on 2 Thursdays ago, and about won them the race as a result of staying out for that track position. But lights are out on the pace car. We'll go green next time by. Julian Altena from Altena Auto Sports is your leader. Johnny Garrett from Vortex is in second. Giacometti third. Dietz making her first start in the series. Again, first female driver in 10 years in the classic IndyCar Series. She is fourth. And Andrew Aiken up to fifth. He's your biggest gainer at the moment, up 14 spots. Green flag is out. Watching everyone take room, and we got already a spinner, and it is Dietz on the main straight into the inside wall, taking out 2 cars. It looks like Shoemake was part of that as well.
Trying to see where the initial, so that right there is an old tire situation with the wheel spin, Gary. We were talking briefly about the low torque earlier on in this race here, and sometimes if you don't time that first gear first to second gear change, easy for me to say.
Yeah.
If you time it wrong, it very, very, very simply sort of spins the rear tires up, and it could easily pit you sideways. Now, Laura's new to the series, so perhaps this just may not been enough practice for that one. But yeah, let's see what happened here.
Aiken got part of it. Vogelzang got part of it. Vogelzang looks damaged. 3 cars damaged out of that. 4 got contact.
Yeah, and we're also looking at a couple of black flags here.
Yeah, I wonder
Gary,
if those could get.
They are not going to be cleared.
My goodness, and that is
yeah.
That is going to hurt them because they were just trying to take evasive maneuvers, and what happened is they passed cars before on the wrong side before crossing the start-finish line. I hate that NASCAR-style rule they have, and they squeeze us into the same hole in that peg game here. It's a square peg, round hole scenario. And, there we see Andrew Aiken. He had to take evasive maneuver or he's in it as well. And he was in it, but a slight kiss. We'll replay a little bit more, watch from his point of view. And it gave plenty. So, if you're not familiar with the rule, you cannot pass on this side before the start-finish line. You can pass on the inside. That's why all these cars are so close to the wall, because they're lining up to protect. Oh, and there was, he was forgiven. You watch the front nose and the front wheel get damaged and then snap back into place. He'll still want to come to pit road, though.
Yeah, we also missed talking about Lucas Santos, who likely is done as well for the day. Pancake the inside
sorry,
wall
that was Santos. That was not Vogelzang. Sorry, that was Santos. Vogelzang made it through.
I thought you were right that Vogelzang did get a piece, but that was actually VJO that was stopping from the careening back over to the right again of Shoemake's car that was coming back over. It's a lot of drivers to keep in mind, and some drivers have new paints that I'm not overly familiar with yet. So thank you for bearing with me for picking out drivers as well. But yeah, it's been a long-standing rule in this league, unfortunately, that there is no live admin. So no one gets black flags cleared. It's not just because of the live admin, but they race strictly on iRacing rules only. We saw it last race with Mustanen that had to serve his black flag that he unfortunately got as well. And
he's going to have to do another one, yeah. And Aiken and Mustanen are going to have to come to pit road to answer the black flag. I believe it's just going to be a drive-through penalty. And that's just going to give a couple of free spots back to Pressey.
I'm sure at this point. Oh, wow. That could have been another bad one there, Gary.
I think Mustanen wanted to come in hot, and Andrew Aiken wasn't willing to come in that hot, and I think they made contact.
I don't see any damage on the front wing of Mustanen's car, but it possibly could have hurt the rain light on
Aiken has some scuffs. Yeah, Aiken has some scuffs on his rear wing.
You know, if I were Mustanen at this point, this is 2 races in a row where you got a clearly unfair black flag. I wouldn't be surprised if this would be brought up to the admins to perhaps come up with a better solution for the future.
And there you see them with the drive-through. Back up front, Johnny Garrett attempting to pass to the inside on Julian Altena. Here is Pressey to the inside of Giacometti with those fresher tires. He's pushing the issue at the right time with those fresher tires, but he can't quite get the pass done because we see Johnny Garrett go wide. Kind of impedes Pressey a little bit. Pressey does pass. He's going to stay to the inside. He's going to stay there down the backstretch. Going to keep it a beat on it into turn 3. Try to get the position again in 3 and move Pressey up another spot. A pretty impressive restart here for the rookie who started on the pole with the only driver in the 160 bracket, 160 mile per hour bracket. And he is now back up to second after stopping on that last caution.
At this point, too, I'm sure Garrett's been involved with those 2 netcode incidents, so I'm pretty sure at this point he's not going to battle too hard with anyone for the sake of possibly upsetting another car's progress here. So good on Garrett for just maintaining there. And at this point, we're still just holding. We're still having high attrition here, so everyone's trying to hold their spots as best as possible.
Here's Mustanen now, 1 lap down, and on the only car he's racing is the car he's racing right there. Aiken, he gets by Aiken, and now move Mustanen up to the 11th position. And now he's just opting for to try to get just better track position, eat up people as he can. And he gets F-Tink there. F-Tink gets a good run on the high side and down the backstretch and evens it out. down the backstretch. A little bit of a draft of the car in front of him. That is Stumi. Excuse me, that is not Stumi. That is Giacometti, I believe. Yes, that is Giacometti.
We also saw Randy Shoemake come down pit lane. His right side pod is probably the worst I've ever seen in this car, and that's obviously from that restart incident. So I think that thing is pretty much done for the day as well. Ooh, contact there with F-Tink and Mustanen. I think similar to another one we saw over in Michigan. I think F-Tink thought Mustanen was going to turn a little earlier and just turn into the side of him, but all it did was get a little wiggle, and all continues going.
Pressey is pressing Julian again at the lead. Took a stab at him last lap. Julian held him off. Julian in that middle line. Pressey all over the attenuator of the Altina Auto Sports captain as they come off the corner. Keeps it to the inside, lines back up F-Tink to the inside of Giacometti. F-Tink has recovered pretty good after fading back to about 9th at the start of the race. Again, probably there's a fair bit of learning going on with these cars. We have seen them in the IR18s before do reasonably well as Mustanen just keeps it on the outside of Giacometti and picks up the position. That is just for track position, but wow, what a move indeed.
Yeah, I saw Mustanen taking the high side, and I said in my head he is going to run out of track, but I think Giacometti probably just gave it a little less throttle and said, here, take the outside. I think at this point he knew that he's going to be having a hard time holding these faster drivers off. And Giacometti has definitely run up front in several of these races, and I'm sure he wants to just finish at this point after seeing all the stuff that's going on around him. So he'll race hard, and he's got a lot of heart to do so in previous races I've done with him, but at this point, he knows that he's got the worst set of tires here, so better to just hold off and let him go. Come get him later.
This is the fourth.
Another one, but he's still lapped down, I believe, right? So
he's just
racing his lap back.
He's trying to get up to the leaders and get by them and get back on the tail end of the lead lap. This is the fourth race here for the Classic IndyCar Series at New Hampshire. They raced for the first time back here in 2017 in Season 3. 220-lap race that ended early due to time. It was originally scheduled for 225 laps. Michele Constantini, a driver you're pretty familiar with, won that race over Lucas Laville and Hans Pitkin. Back in 2020, they came here for Season 5, 200 laps, 200 miles. Lucas Laville got that win. He beat Robert Grosser by 0.4 of a second. Jan Hoffman, who won last week, came home in third. And there we see F-Tink getting back by Giacometti as we ride with Giacometti down the backstretch. And then the last visit here in 2024, Season 10, 200 laps, 200 miles. Ethan Agan over Cameron Dance by 2.7 seconds. Andrew Aiken finished third for 4.8 seconds back. And just the key stat here is much like the real IndyCar races, that when the real IndyCar Series came here, 8 different races, 8 different winners. 3 different races, 3 different winners, and we're looking at a possible 4 for 4 here. Is really none of those names that we see, Aiken, Lavelle, or even Constantini in the lineup today. So we're looking at a New Hampshire winner here in the 4th consecutive time the series visits.
Did Andrew Wood race in that 2024 race out of curiosity? Oh, we have a spinner. It is F-Tink. Lost it all by himself out of turn 2. I was just watching that battle still, and all of a sudden the car just looped right around.
And this is, at some point, and he caught it, and he got loose again. At some point, going too low in these corners, even in the IR18s, your car breaks loose. And we see this. You and I have done DW12 races here in the Dark Horse Series, much the same way. The high line is where the car is most stable around here, and you start bringing the car down to the low line to make passes or to make time. You start heating up those rear tires because of the side bite, making the car rotate, and that's kind of what we saw here with Roden F-Tink, our pole sitter, spinning off of 2 and going into the inside wall. We see a lot of spins off of 2 and a lot of spins off of 4 in any style of Indy car that we bring here, whether the IR05, the DW12, or the IR18s, Andrew.
Yeah, one important thing that you need to do in turn 1 and 2 on this track is you can dive the car and make it a very much diamond shaped kind of corner, but you have to make sure your wheel is straight on the exit. There's absolutely, especially in this car, the IRO5, you have to make sure the wheel is pointed straight. Otherwise, the car will more than likely go over the end of the banking there, the very, very small banking, and loop you. There is also a tiny little bump there, I believe, where the tunnel entering the track is.
Julian Altina comes to pit road, and then we are right about the point where we're in between a 3-stop and a 2-stop strategy if we go green from here on out, which is saying an awful lot because we are on our 4th caution of the day. But the 3-stop strategy, the window opens at about 50 laps. We're just past that. The 2-stop strategy, it opens at 66, 67. By the time we go green, we'll be within about 4 laps of that. Yeah, these with a little bit of a fuel save here by these guys that just stopped, they might be able to do this in 2 more. Pressy stays out, picks up the track position. He goes to the point, and in front of him is Mustanen. Mustanen will get the wave around, and he will rejoin the lead lap, Andrew.
Very good work there. And of course, yeah, he had worked very hard to try and get up to where the cars hadn't pitted yet, so that if caution were to come out, he simply just has to stay out and he gets his lap back. So good on him there. We saw him moving during that last stint through the field there, and I wouldn't be surprised if he makes quick work of some of these drivers that are towards the back of this line right now as well. So I'll be keeping watch on him for us, Gary.
And we'll see if he comes around and heads to pit road or just rejoins the field. I think he's just going to rejoin the field here. So he would like to see another quick caution to keep him on the lead lap and on the same cycle as everyone else. We're going to go green this time by. And, of course, remember, we did see green flag starting issues once already this race. So hopefully everyone picked up that critical lesson learned here, especially those that stayed out. Pressy, Hutton, Aiken. Aiken was trying to get his the lap back as well. He stuck a lap down, but if he can get around Pressy, he gets that lap back. A smooth restart this time, Andrew.
Yes, very clean, very orderly. All it takes is one upset, Gary,
Yeah.
and then the rest from there, it's like, okay, I'm going to mix 2 or start in second gear or something a little bit different, or, just do everything you can to avoid all the chaos ahead of you. And on a track like this is obviously a lot more difficult to escape than a spinner in Michigan, for example, that just goes down into the grass because there really is nowhere to go, and the track could easily get blocked.
It is Pressy. The car behind Pressy is Aiken, whose first car 1 lap down, trying to get back on the lead lap. Then Jared Ray Hutton up 15 spots to 2nd position. Right behind him is his teammate VJO. And to the inside, Julian Altina attacking Vogelsang. And Altina move him up to 4th now. Vogelsang back to 5th. Julian stopped on that last caution. He has those fresh tires, and he now knows you really have a very limited window. It kind of reminds me, this racetrack, it's a flat version of Charlotte in these cars. In the IR18s at Charlotte, you really only have about a 5-lap window until the good of the tires wear off, and then you're kind of in a track position, single file style race. Very much the same thing here, Andrew. Track position means everything, but you can pull off passes very early in runs, and that's with the tire advantage.
You explained yourself really well on that one, Gary. When you first said Charlotte, I'm going to say, okay, how's he going to get himself out of this paper bag that he's got himself stuck in? Because I had no idea where you were going with that, but I definitely see your point, and you're absolutely right. I'll correct you a little bit just because these cars, because of how they're structured, and of course there hasn't been a lot of updates on this car over time, it does seem like the best that the tires act and that the car acts is at the very, very end of the stint. That's why watchers of this broadcast for a few years now may notice that no one really does any undercuts in this car or anything. Everyone wants to stay out until the very, very last drop of fuel is needed because the car just manages to hit some window of competency and compliance is probably the better word I'm looking for, right at the very end of the stint. Like the last 5 or 6 laps, both on road and on oval, tend to be your fastest laps for whatever reason. So the beginning of the stint is more just trying to get the car ramped up and revved up, as you will, and then and then you go through a lull in the middle of the stint where the tires are kind of and the car is really in middle mode. But then the end it like goes into rocket fuel. So we'll see a lot of these fastest laps of the race maybe coming towards the end of the race unexpectedly. And yeah, I saw Julian clouded the wall a little bit there, Gary.
Yeah, we're riding with him right now, and he clapped it pretty good. And that's, again, another kiss that you do not want to make on Valentine's Day weekend. And he gets up and gives it a little bit of kiss off of, I believe that was corner number 4.
Yes.
A little bit of aero wash, but he seems to be okay. He has set the purple lap a little earlier in the race. Go ahead.
I don't see it. I was just double checking the side of the car there. It looks totally clean to me, so it looks like he got away with one.
He gets around Jared Ray Hutton. Jared goes back to one position. Jared's up 14. And he has his teammate VJO now as his rear gunner. But Julian now up to second position as he tries to run down Pressey. Julian 1.5 seconds back. Pressey is the second car ahead, the middle car. Just ahead of Julian on these long shots. That is Aiken. Aiken 1 lap down. And then Pressey, our leader. There he is.
Checking back in on where Mustanen is. He's just crossed over start-finish line now, and he's got a gaggle of cars that are all battling for position up ahead, including guys like Hoffman and Garrett and Giacometti. They're all kind of sitting side by side, and Mustanen's like, please just do not get into any sort of incidents around me. I'm coming through here.
Giacometti, Vogelzang. Drag race down the front stretch just behind them. Johnny Garrett, who's had himself an adventuresome race. Last race winner, Jan Hoffman in 8th. And then our defending series
champion. Did you just see those two cars come together there? That was like the anti-netcode hit there.
Not giving up any inches whatsoever. Elbows are out. And Johnny Garrett is a very interested partner here, a party here, not partner, party. He wants to get through this mess, and they are occupying all spaces in front of him as he stays low off the corner, runs down the backstretch to the inside of Giacometti, tries to get a little bit closer here in 3 and 4. Here comes Mustanen. Mustanen gets around Hoffman, moves Mustanen up to 8th.
Mustanen's not really coming through as fast as I would have predicted, actually. Obviously, we're taking our time here and trying to do everything methodically. And yes, he was just sitting behind a bunch of cars that were battling. But typically, Mustanen just seems to have this electric pace that we've seen in multiple races in the last couple of years that he's been running here. And I'm hoping that it's just more of taking a methodical approach of getting through the field rather than perhaps the car is just not set up as good as he typically likes it.
Again, the battle here between Vogelzang and Giacometti. This is for 5th and 6th. Top 4 starting to pull away a little bit. Inside, Johnny Garrett on Giacometti. One of the drivers that started up front today. Is he, a little bit of a flinch there by Andrea, and that allows Thomas Mustanen to get on around.
Yeah, poor Giacometti that lap lost 2 spots, and now Jan Hoffman's lurking there as well to possibly pick up another one.
If you're watching from home, maybe you have one window open to the Daytona 500. You have another window open to us. Shout out where you're from, who's your favorite driver, maybe who your favorite IndyCar driver is. Shout us out. We'll be happy to hear you in chat. Right now, we're watching this battle now. For 5th spot, Vogelzang, Mustanen now up to 6th, Johnny Garrett 7th, Giacometti in 8th, and Jan Hoffman in 9th. So this is 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th all together on the racetrack.
Yeah, very, very nice battle. Of course, we see a lot of these drivers kind of sifting back and forth. No one's really able to get some sort of advantage, except Mustanen is going one direction only. But we've definitely seen a lot of back and forth with this group of drivers here, and they all qualified kind of similarly around the same pace as well. So it's very, very exciting to see that this track is putting on a lot of action, and and drivers are able to capitalize on one another's mistakes.
New Hampshire Motor Speedway, located in Loudon, just outside of Concord, New Hampshire. Not too far away from the shores of Lake Winnipesaukee. Pretty beautiful area to go to. Here's Busana to the inside of Vogelzang. And he's able to make that car rotate in the center of the corner. Vogelzang goes out wide, runs out of room there on the corner exit. And I think Thomas is going to be able to slam the door here. Nope, not quite. Almost. Take another stab at it. 1 and 2. And that's going to be able to allow him to slam the door. But following through, as a result, is Giacometti picking back up those lost positions. Andrea now getting on by Vogelzang. He'll lead at the line, but he's going to try to fade to the inside. But here comes Johnny Garrett. And I think Johnny Garrett actually had the roll out of it, and it cost him a position, Andrew.
What? This is great stuff to watch here, Gary. Everyone picks up 2 spots, and then somehow there's a mistake by someone else in the pack, and then you lose 2 spots. And yeah, it's very interesting. We have a car, Andrew Aiken, on pit lane also. He hasn't been out too long, I believe.
Now this is Andrew Aiken, 40 laps on the current stint.
We were talking about perhaps going backwards or doing the strategy backwards in the race as well. So perhaps that could be a ploy here, or perhaps he's just he is going again. So it does look like a routine stop. So I wonder if he is a teammate to Barnicow as well. So perhaps that team's setup probably just needs a little bit of tweaking as the race goes on, and especially if the temperature out on the track is getting hotter or colder as the race goes on. Perhaps we want to change our aero balance.
Battle for the lead. Julian Altena has caught our leader, and he's now side by side going into 1, and he's using the high side, Andrew, to get by Pressey, and he does it. Rockets to the lead and moves Julian Altena back to the point.
That was a great move there by Altena. I think it's almost as if Pressey might have just let him go at one point in the corner there. It was a power move to the outside, but perhaps that 4th lane around turn 1 and 2 works really well for that Altena Auto Sports machine.
And there's a big difference between tires on these cars too. Julian, 28 laps on this stint. Pressey, almost twice as long, 52 on this stint. So we suspect that Pressey will be coming to pit road here very shortly. Here is your stint times. Laps since last pit, as we are very close now to the halfway point.
Poor Vogelzang is still annoying these 3 drivers behind him. that he seems to be just fast enough to hold on to the position, and the other drivers can't really get themselves together to move around. Now I think it's just a matter of haste, right? All the drivers saying, I want to pass him first. No, I want to pass him first, which is really hindering the whole process. And
here's Hoffman to the inside of Giacometti. And we're watching out of the gearbox of Vogelzang. Coming into your living room. Here's a good screenshot for you, Andrea. Get that one for your desktop.
There we go. That's...
And Andrea to the inside of Milan. Milan's going to hold him off. He's going to be able to hold that position as getting the momentum down the front stretch. These guys all 50. Giacometti 32 laps. Vogelzang 52. Hoffman 32. Garrett 32. So I think right now Vogelzang is just in a position where the track position is favoring him, first of all, Andrew. The tires are slightly better on the cars behind them, but they're unable to pull off the pass. And until they do, they're just going to be bottled up behind Milan. But I think, though, that there might be a partial opportunity here that Vogelsang is going to come to pit road for a scheduled stop anyways. How hard do you want to work on him?
At this point, you're really not going to pick up all the time that you've lost just by sitting behind him as long. And now it's getting riskier and riskier as the tires start to change and the car balance starts to change to really throw it up the inside. However, I think at this point, there's going to be some different strategy talks going on, especially as we get to the halfway point of this race. Where do you want to be in about 30 to 40 laps or so as you start thinking about your last pit stop?
Mustanen has pulled away from that fatal four-way back there, and he is now approaching his teammate VJO. So now we're going to have a battle between two teammates. How do you work that one out? You've raced with teammates before, and at this point in the race, caution. Randy Shoemake? Yes. Randy Shoemake. See what happens. And he's already had a damaged car, and he just using every tool to get that car to rotate off the corners and behave, and it just loose off corner exit to the inside wall, and his day's done. Julian pulled away a little bit at the end of that run. I would suspect everyone's going to come to pit road.
Just going back to that lap since pit graphic from earlier, and yeah, we got different drivers on different strategies right now, so it will probably benefit a few drivers to perhaps take Julian's strategy of staying out, Julian's first pit stop strategy of staying out, and you know, especially if you're kind of mired towards the back, I might think that Mustanen might give it a try to stay out and lead some laps and see where that might place him, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, everybody coming. Not everybody coming. Jan Hoffman. He is going to roll the dice. Right. And he brings his teammate with him, Johnny Garrett. So a team call to stay out and go long, pick up that track position for the Vortex team. But Julian Altena comes to pit road. Cressy is kind of cockeyed in his stall right now, but Julian down and away, and he will beat everybody else off. So I was getting ready to say, I was getting ready to look at, just as we went caution, I was going to look to see what type of different strategy VJO was on versus Mustanen, and what you should do as a team at that point. If Mustanen got closer, if there were competing strategies, is it better just to let Thomas go if you're VJO, or maybe hold him off and not be much of a teammate at that point?
Yeah, especially if they were racing on different strategies, then there's definitely a conversation that's happening between teammates, of course. But I also believe that Mustanen probably is, if he had come up to VJO quite fast, I'm sure that he may have battled him for perhaps a half a lap or so, but eventually he would say, hey, you come up to me kind of fast. There's no need for me to really pull this up or battle us a little bit too much. So I think there'd be definite team coordination there.
Johnny Garrett getting shouted out in chat. Johnny now in second position, up 2 spots from where he started this race. If you're just joining us, as P1's coverage of Season 12, the transition season of the Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series, coming to you from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the BJ Manufacturing 200. We've completed 99 of 200 laps. We're right at the halfway point. If you're enjoying P1's coverage of today's race, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for future iRacing content. The next race for us here on P1 will be our Monday night iRacing open wheel doubleheader. Race 1 starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time with the iRacing IndyCar Open Series top split at Zandvoort, followed by the iRacing Indy Next Road Series top split from Fuji at 9 p.m. We're back underway here at New Hampshire, right at the halfway point, lap 100. We reached the century mark. Tune in to watch some of the best open wheel road racers on all iRacing right here on P1 starting tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Jan Hoffman leads, Johnny Garrett second, Julian Altena third, Pressy fourth, and Hutton fifth. Third, fourth, and fifth all stopped on that last round of pit stops.
We were talking about teammates in that last little segment there, Gary, and let's talk about the teammates of Vortex up front. So they're going for a different strategy to stay out.
VJO!
Well, it's VJO.
VJO and Vogelzang might have had a little bit of not a kiss you want to have on Valentine's Day, and turns 1 and 2, and that moved VJO up all the way up the racetrack, and now he falls behind that group of drivers.
Yeah, Vogelzang is playing sleeping policeman again here. Someone's got to really try and find a way to get underneath Vogelzang and move some of the other drivers that are following forward, but give a lot of credit to Vogelzang, of course, because he is able to hold off those drivers. So it's one person's treasure, one person's annoyance is definitely one way to put it.
Oh, Garrett into the wall off of 2. That's going to open the door for Julian. He follows Aiken on through, and he gets the position. Here comes Pressey, as they were racing really hard in this group with lap traffic, and Johnny Garrett got way up to the high side. Now high side Julian off of 4 down the front straight as he's to the inside of Aiken. He does not want to give up any of that track position, so he's going to try to pull this pass off, give himself a bit of a buffer, and try to run down Hoffman. Hoffman with the lead. Here's Julian right on the attenuator. He's going to take a stab at it and turns 3 and 4. Here comes Aiken to the inside. Pressey just behind him.
This is definitely, turn 4 especially is really, really difficult to judge where that wall is going to jump out at you, because it's such a narrow tunnel sort of view as that pit wall.
Oh, Mastella goes to the inside wall!
Caution, yellow flag.
And we are caution. I believe that is our 5th caution of the day. 6th caution of the day, I think. Wow. You do not see that very often with our defending series champion. And watch this as he's racing. This is a Vogelzang. And he just comes right around the corner. And we've seen this so many times with drivers that are more talented and drivers that are less talented, and champions and non-champions alike, Andrew. We see it all the time here at New Hampshire, and unfortunately, it was the number 1 that came up snake eyes today.
As seasons go on in this, Gary, I've been here 8 seasons now in this league, and that number 1 is a little bit of a curse. Unfortunately, I've seen it with Lucas Laville. I've seen it with Josh Chin. I've seen it with Cameron Dance. For some reason, no one is ever able to back up a championship season. I'm not making any sort of claims about how the rest of Mustannen's season is gonna go here, but for some reason we see it time and time again. I know you mentioned that we don't usually see that out of a series champion, but sometimes these things it's almost like wearing the 1 is almost putting some sort of target on you, not just from other drivers, but in your own mind, saying, I got to carry this number and represent it the best I can. And unfortunately, it does seem to be a little bit of a taboo in this series for whatever reason.
Well, I think it's also like that in the IndyCar Series, too, because Scott Dixon doesn't like to wear it. I don't think Alex Palou has wore it. In fact, I think the whole Chip Ganassi racing squad seems to shy away from it. They wore it before, and they do realize it is an extra burden, and that there are some teams that refuse to wear it. And then there's other teams like, go figure, Team Penske, they'll wear it like a badge. So, there is, I agree with you. I think when you have that number 1 on you, it puts an extra target on you. But I think it comes with a little extra heavy burden. Looking at previous seasons, season 1, season 2, season 3 was all won by Robert Groscher. He won back-to-back-to-back. He is the 3-time series champion. Then we had Matt Cook in season 5. Lucas Laville won back-to-back championships in season 7 and 6. Chin won season 9 and 8, and then over the last 2 seasons, Cameron Danson and Thomas Mustaine, we've had different winners. So right now, the way things are looking, and we are still in the early stages here of season 12, and season 12 is an abbreviated season. So there are still time here for Mustanen to catch back up. Specifically, his strengths are on the road courses, and we got 2 road courses coming up. He can get back into this thing, but there's not as much time there has been in the past, in previous Classic IndyCar seasons that lasted the entire calendar, and they were like 15 races long. This one's only 8, and it's only going to be a couple of months, so Thomas cannot make any more mistakes like this as the season goes on. But we go back to green flag racing here at lap 109 of 200. Altena leads. Pressy is second. Hutton is third. Vogelzang now fourth. Giacometti is in fifth. And that whole outlook of that group that was back there that had Thomas Mustanen trying to run through them to get back to the lead has changed with him now out of this race.
I believe there's only 10 cars left running here either, so we cut the field basically in half. So, yeah, we were happy to see all the populated grid, but perhaps it's created a little bit more chaos than we imagined would happen.
Watching Vogelzang and Giacometti. As they get now to Hutton. So they're the top 2, Pressy and Altena, have pulled away a little bit, and now they've reached this group right here is Hutton, Vogelzang, and Giacometti. Hutton in that red, foil red and black and white car, as Johnny Garrett goes purple lap. That time by the 157.5. Vogelzang in that baby blue, and Giacometti in that has hot neon green trim.
I was going to talk a little bit before one of the previous questions about Jared Ray Hutton. Actually, we saw that he qualified on the pole last race in Michigan there and managed to put himself right in the middle of quite a few incidents, which led to that rear grid penalty there. So I definitely could see that, okay, perhaps I got in a little bit over my skis for the first race of a new league that I've joined and everything like that. So the way that Hutton has been driving this race is definitely showing, like, okay, I'm a little bit more patient. I'm a little bit more measured. I can't get myself into trouble again, because once you start getting yourself into trouble in multiple races as a new driver, drivers will race you differently. And,
yeah, they sure will.
It's good to see that Hutton has managed to escape all the incidents that we've seen today. Perhaps he's kind of laughing a little to himself, saying, hey, that was me last week, and I'm a little bit better this week. So perhaps maybe my bad reputation from race 1 will just fade into the shadows, and I can really go out and show what I have going from here. So it's a learning curve for every single person that drives this car. It's very rare that someone just turns up right away and starts winning immediately.
All right, I would make sure I would laugh last. Easy for me to say, not to laugh first. There's still a lot of this races to go, and he might be good now, and we've seen it happen to our defending series champion just a couple laps ago, spinning off a 2 just out of nowhere. So a very sketch car on a very sketch racetrack, but they're hanging on as we're watching this battle for third. This is Jared Ray Hutton riding from his gearbox, and here comes Vogelzang right into your living room, and Giacometti right behind him. This is third, fourth, and fifth on the racetrack, and not too far out of the battle, there's a green and black and white car just behind Andrew Aiken in that black and orange car, and that is P6.
Such a great view, that camera there, Gary. Especially for some reason, it's very, very tantalizing for this specific chassis. Just that kind of flat little nose there, and the way the car swings left to right. It is very, very nice to view, and you can definitely see that not every driver takes the same line into these corners. Everyone approaches how they turn in a little bit different, and perhaps they don't even do it the same way multiple laps in a row, which makes it even more interesting to see how the car develops over the course of the stint.
Andrew Aiken to the inside of Giacometti. This is, unfortunately, just for track position. Aiken stuck 2 laps down at the moment, but has a lot of pace, obviously. And then just behind them, Johnny Garrett and VJO. Garrett set the purple lap not too long ago, so we know he has pace. VJO, bit of a waggle coming off the corner. He catches it. I believe the handling is maybe starting to go away already for him as he raced pretty hard. Oh.
I've seen VJO have a couple little wiggles there, and he's clapped the wall on the front straightaway in particular a couple times. Side pod does look pretty clean on that VJO car right now, though, so I think he's in good shape. I'm just checking actually while I'm at it. Might as well look at see if anyone else has any damage from some little small hits along the way. No, I think everyone's car looks pretty clean from any possible side wall hits they've had.
Giacometti almost into the wall, maybe made contact with the wall coming off a 2. He's still rolling. Here he is, a bit of a run. That car getting closer, closer, closer. The draft does work here. You've got to be very, very close to the car in front of you in order for the draft to be effective here, though. Oh, to the inside, he sends it. Oh! And Hutton.
Oh, here comes Andrew Aiken. Wow, that got very interesting for a second there.
It sure did.
3 wide. I was saying, oh no, poor Aiken's not going to have any turning radius if he goes that low at all. So good to see that he backed out of that one, especially as he's still trying to find a way to get some laps back here.
Jared unfortunately got caught, and now he's caught down low, which is not the preferred line, not this late into the run. And Vogelzang's going to pass. Giacometti's going to pass. And Jared Ray Hutton, who was up to 3rd at this restart, is to the inside. Andrew Aiken sends it. Whoa! Oh, there's a little bit of a kiss there. Little wheel-to-wheel action.
It's aggravating as a driver, too. When you see other drivers around you have these netcode incidents, and then other cars just seemingly drive into the side of you, it's like, okay, well, is there any consistency of what part of the car I can touch or get close to? Because you see that it happens to other drivers, and then you're looking around saying, if I get close to another driver, I'm going to spin him around. So it's just one of those extra little bits. You're already trying your best to keep your car pointed straight, not spin, not hit other cars. Then you also have to keep in mind where the person you're racing, how far away they are from the server, and everything like that. It's just one added stress that comes into sim racing that drivers contend with. And right
contact
now,
off the wall. Contact off a 2. That was Hutton and Garrett.
And that was Garrett as well, who had those incidents that I'm speaking of earlier. So perhaps Jared Ray Hutton, he can get close to him, but he can't get close to him on wall.
There are probably 2 drivers coming from America, so they'll have very similar ping times. But that now kind of separates that group into 2. We have Vogelzang and Giacometti for 3rd and 4th. That 3rd car right behind them is Andrew Aiken in 10th. And then we have Garrett VJO. Garrett and VJO in 5th, 6th, and 7th. Smoke coming off of turn 2. Not sure what happened there. But Julian Altena continues the lead. Nick Pressey is in 2nd. As we're now at lap 130 of 200.
We had another loose off turn 2 moment. Franz Josef Stum is missing a large part of his car, so that's going to bring us down to 9 drivers. No cause.
And that is terminal. That is terminal damage for Stumi. That is going to be a retirement. Now, the good news is the attrition level is very much of a mid-80s kart race here. Stumi is now locked into a top 10 finish, and his day's done. Andrew Aiken, 2 laps down, has worked his way inside the top 10.
Yeah, actually, I'm wondering when the last time was that we had retirements into the top 10 of a CIS race. I don't know if it'll be very easy to locate that, but I'm pretty sure our fan Robert Groscher has stats like that hidden away somewhere that I'm sure he'll enlighten all of us later with, because he's definitely very much in tune with that. But very, very rare to see. Now, there's all sorts of caveats to that, right? We have perhaps 15 stars of a race and 6 people get removed. That's one case. But I would say like a stat that has to do with perhaps 20 plus drivers, and we have half the field gone, that brings us into the top 10 of remaining drivers despite how many laps they are down. And yeah, if it's someone like Mustanen just kept himself on the track and just kind of cooled things off, he'd have a guaranteed top 10. Not like that's something that he's racing for, as he's our reigning champion, but even someone towards the back, such as Logan Simmons or Matthias Strauss or something like that, if they had just had perhaps a little bit more luck, where maybe they just got a wing clip or something like that and had to ride around in the back. Even Randy Shoemake is a good example of that. He gave it a try, but the car just wasn't able to hold off enough. But very, very interesting stat for all of us to know.
And New Hampshire, actually, in real life, is a site of one of those races that a driver truly had a dominant day but did not win. And if you just hang around, it just proves the point. If you're just hanging around and you keep turning your laps and doing your thing, luck might benefit you. And that was back in '96. Tony Stewart with that Menards Buick engine that they were running back then. Remember the one that always would grenade during the Indy 500? Never won a single race. I'm kind of giving away the finish here. He dominated today, was up by 2 laps. And inside of 20 to go, the engine expired on him, and Scott Sharp was the next car in line, got his 2 laps back, and went on to win his very first IndyCar race. And first win for A.J. Foyt Racing since the early 80s. Watching Julian Altena, the leader right now, in his 20th career start here in the Classic IndyCar Series. He has no wins, but he has some podiums, 4 top 5s, 8 top 10s. Always consistently runs well, just sometimes luck takes it out of his hands. He has been dominant today. And
Hutton's in the
we got a car in the wall, 2 cars involved. And VJO, teammates involved, and we're going to go caution. No, we are not going caution.
How
do we not go caution?
The incident happened outside of where the other cars were coming. So, yeah, we got away with another incident with no caution.
And this is a little bit of an unfortunate fratricide going on, coming off the corner. Jared sends it around very much, and I'm wondering how much his setup. Of course, there might be netcode. Yes, there is netcode. And that netcode, there is actual contact, and that was Johnny Garrett again. And I was wondering if it was an echo of the past from Mustanen, who got loose off the corner. Maybe they were using a similar setup, and they were at that point in the race where the tire just kind of gives up. But another bit of contact with Johnny Garrett mid-corner. Catches Hutton up into the wall. He bounces off it, comes back down off the racetrack, and comes into and collects VJO as an innocent bystander. And 2 more cars have expired and are going to retire. And now we are down to now 7 remaining, as Andrew Aiken now, still 2 laps down, has moved up into the 7th position.
I'm sorry, Gary. I'm just laughing at your choice words. The cars have expired. It almost sounds like a timer is going down or something like that. But yeah, but you turned it right and said retire there. So yeah, that's unfortunate. And again, teammates. Yeah, what a rough day for poor Johnny Garrett. And, sometimes you just have those days, and Johnny Garrett and I have raced very, very close, many races in the past here, and it's a shame to see how things have just kind of unraveled here. But this is definitely a track that is very, very difficult to run consistently and run tame. We've been showing that rear wing camera footage for many laps of this race, and seeing all the different lines that everyone's choosing in each corner. And it's always difficult to try and predict where cars are going to race and where they're going to be middle of the corner. If they're trying something new, they get a little bit loose or a little bit tight. So it just goes to show what these drivers are going through during the whole 2 hours of this race here. And survival of the fittest really is what's going on here. And it's actually not what I expected to see from this race today.
37 different drivers have won a race over 12 seasons and 10 plus years of the Classic IndyCar Series. Could we be looking at number 38, whether that be in the form of Julian Altena or Nick Pressey in his very first start in this series? Also, back in P3, Vogelzang, he would be looking at his first win in the series. So the entire podium right now looking at their first dub in the Classic IndyCar Series, and going down in the infamous or I wouldn't say infamous, but the very famous field of 37 that they have of previous winners. Here's Julian high off the corner.
In fact, Gary, we could check this, of course, but I believe there's only one previous winner remaining in this race, and that's Jan Hoffman, who won last week, or last race. I don't believe there's any other. I don't think anyone else in this field still running as one.
No, you're right. I think so. I don't think Johnny Garrett. He's come close. Has not. He has not. Andrew Aiken. Andrew Aiken has 2 wins. Yeah.
Okay. So we had 2 former winners. Yeah, I was unsure about Andrew Aiken. Now that I think about it, I can think back to the race. I believe he won a Phoenix race, if I'm not mistaken, in 2020 or 2021. That's my brain going back just to racing in this series as long as I have. So yeah, if he has 2 wins, so we have 2 of the remaining 8 runners left in this field that won a race. So I would say the percentage is pretty high that we got our 38th winner today.
And we'll start the season off 2 for 2. 2 races, 2 different winners. Andrew Aiken, 109 starts today. Is 110th. 2 wins over the course of his classic IndyCar Series career. 13 top 5s and 30 top 10s. As Julian has now caught Jan Hoffman, 2 weeks ago's winner at Michigan, and looks to put him a lap down. Julian 53 laps into the stint. Pressey 53. Vogelzang 53. Giacometti 53. Hoffman just goes to the inside, and I think Hoffman might be opting to go to pit road for his final stop.
Yes, Hoffman coming in. This will be it for Hoffman for the day, and maybe he's listening to us and saying, hey, if I'm going to win this race, I got to do something totally different. So he's coming in now and trying something that the leaders aren't.
This battle for third is not over, Andrew. Giacometti is just hanging around as we see Pressey coming to pit road for his final stop.
Yes, and as I mentioned before, I think the best strategy with these cars is stay out to the very last drop. So undercutting is very, very difficult to do in these cars unless you completely nail your in-lap, your out-lap, and your box time. Otherwise, Julian's going to stay out there doing fast lap after fast lap after fast lap, and Pressey's going to come out of the pits and just be trying to warm the tires up and not kill switch the car or do anything crazy. So it's always better to have the speed advantage, and the more faster laps that Julian will run, that'll give him more window to warm his car up before Pressey's coming up behind him whenever Julian takes his last stop.
Giulian going long. He is now 56 laps into his stint. Vogelzang, he's staying out. Giacometti staying out. Johnny Garrett still out on the racetrack as well. Johnny Garrett's 10 laps to the better, I guess, of these two. He's 47, while the leader's at 57. So if we stay green, he might inherit the lead for a little bit, and at that point really wants a caution to happen because he should catch most everyone a lap down.
Man, wouldn't that be something if he's been involved in these incidents and then finds himself with a chance to pit and retain the lead? That would be a little bit of a cherry on top of how this race has gone, not just for us but for Johnny Garrett as well. One other quick thing to mention too, we didn't really talk about this pit exit here. It is very, very sketchy and dangerous. You're coming around the inside of turn 1 and 2 where cars are obviously at speed but no real barrier if someone were to spin out and come down there. But there is one small little jut out of the wall right as you come around the last bit of that oval that is difficult to even kind of see coming because of the way the fence is and the shadow off that sign. And you have to get on the throttle right after that where the pit speed or where the pit exit has to be. So it is a very tricky one too. I was watching Nicholas Pressey go out of there and just saying, careful, don't press it too early, don't do anything wild. Johnny's coming in.
Vogelzang and Giacometti were side by side there for a bit. But Johnny Garrett is going to attempt a different strategy. He's coming in now, so he's going to short fill it, but this is his final stop. Lot of damaged race cars on pit road. The cool pit, though, is all these people, all these drivers are sticking around to watch the race. So they haven't actually disconnected or retired. So that normally means there's a lot of people watching, at least from the driver's point of view. And Garrett, last stop, down and away. And watch him. Here's that pit road exit. Again, very sketch. It's like threading a needle there at the end. Julian a leader by 5 seconds over Vogelzang. And I think Julian could probably dial it back if he wants to with a lead that big at this point, Andrew.
It's always difficult to try and slow yourself down because you're just in a rhythm. And a track like this is definitely very rhythm-based. I know for me, my strength in these cars tends to be the short ovals, and I really drive these cars just based on engine noise. That's the best way to do it. You know, you come out the corner and you let the revs get to a certain point, and then you start lifting off the throttle. And once you knock yourself out of that rhythm, it gets very, very difficult to bring it back. So, yeah, you can maybe slow it down and try and learn a new rhythm of sorts. Maybe count different beats in your head as you're doing it, but it is difficult to just say, hey, I'm going to take my pace down. Perhaps you do a fuel mix change. That might be the easiest way to do it.
Vogelzang coming to pit road. Giacometti picks up the position. Leader on pit road, Julian Altina. Final stop. The guy that's really dominated today's race. Just shy of 100 laps led.
And, of course, he's been out much like, ooh, did he blow the box?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He missed it. He missed it.
Oh, I couldn't even commentators curse him. He did it before I could even get it out of my mouth, Gary.
Well, let's see if that doesn't cost him any time. He's down and away. Vogelzang also down and away. Vogelzang, no errors on pit road. So Giacometti now has to come to pit road for his final stop.
And Julian loses the spot. That mistake entering his box is what did it, for sure.
And he is out behind Pressey, so he now needs to run down Pressey. He has plenty of time. Here you see 37 to go. Pressey's tires, the good of them have worn off.
And we're going to be watching the tower as well, Gary, for fastest laps of the race, especially as the fuel tanks are lighter, fresher tires. These are when the purples are going to start to come up.
And there it is, 157.7, Julian, purple lap as he is at the attenuator. Pressey. Again, Pressey making his first ever start. Julian to the inside, drag race down the front straight off of turn 4. Going into one, battle for the lead here. 34 to go here at New Hampshire. And Julian, just like that, gets the spot back.
That was actually very, very well set up and very, very well put together and nicely placed for that pass. He kind of tried to fake him a little bit into turn 3 to go high. Julian went higher, got the drive off straight as he could going down the front straightaway and sent it as fast or as hard as he could into turn 1 while still trying to keep all the air on the wings. That was a textbook short oval pass there. Great job, Julian.
That battle for third is kind of separated at the moment. Vogelzang and Giacometti are separated. We'll get you. I was looking at last laps and seeing how much of Julian turned it down, and that towards the end of his stint, he's still up in the 156s now. So with those new tires, but let's get you gaps here. There is Vogelzang 3 seconds up to Pressey, and then 0.6 back to Giacometti. So right now, I don't see, unless there's a late caution, knocking on wood. These guys catching the leaders. So that is going to be a battle, a little sub-battle in its own right. Pressey now 0.7 back from Julian, who is our leader. Once again, if you're just joining us, you're watching P1's coverage of round 2 of 8 of season 12. It's a transition season of the Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series, coming to you from New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the BJ Manufacturing 200. We're currently Gian Paolo leads with 31 laps to go. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. The next race for us here in the Classic IndyCar Series is Sunday, March 1st, 2 weeks from now. March Madness starts next 2 Sundays from now. For round 3 of season 12 of the Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series. The teams and drivers head to our first road course of the season, Montreal, for the 5th running of the CIS Indy Montreal. Coverage starts at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the 1st. Don't miss it as the season continues right here on P1 in 2 weeks. Today's New Hampshire 200 from New Hampshire Motor Speedway is proudly sponsored by BJ Manufacturing. BJ Manufacturing Company provides high-quality machining, welding, and fabrication work in Riverside, California. To learn more, check out their links in the description. And, of course, we want to thank the fine folks at the Sim Gaming Expo for being the season-long title sponsor of the Classic IndyCar Series Season 12 campaign. Get ready for the ultimate simulation gaming experience. The Sim Gaming Expo is bringing all genres of simulation and gaming technology under one roof. Join us September 18th through 20th in Chicagoland at the Schaumburg Convention Center to try out the latest gear from the biggest brands in the industry. You can meet your favorite streamers and celebrate your passion for simulation with our incredible community. Don't miss out. To learn more or to get your tickets now, and I believe tickets are going to go on sale sometime later this month, so just go to the website to learn more. It's simgamingexpo.com and be a part of simulation gaming history today. All the links you need are in the description. 27 to go here for the BJ Manufacturing 200 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Gian Paolo sailing on for what might be his first career Classic IndyCar Series win here at the Magic Mile in New Hampshire.
We should also mention before it was Jared Ray Hutton who had gained the most spots. Right now it's going to be Vogelsang up 12 spots from his starting position of P16. It looks like a practice session out there right now, Gary. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of action for us to show here, and I think at this point the action's going to ramp down more than anything, unless someone really, really has something for Julian, especially seeing what everyone else has gone through this race. No one wants to take their car back down and need to work on it before the next race. So I think that it's going to probably calm down a little bit, perhaps that last battle there for the last step of the podium. But laps are clicking away quickly here, and we're going to be seeing Barney wave that checkered flag very shortly here.
And Andrew Aiken just ahead of this battle for third. We'll see if that he'll play a role or not. Aiken, last car in the running. Actually, VJO is back out there. He's repaired. Let's pop onto his roll bar and see how his car is tracking right now. Well, seems to be steering pretty good in the corners. I'm sure it's not behaving well. That's a little bit of offset in that steering.
And this is the best time to go out there and try and pick up any spots you possibly can, especially with just knowing that how many cars are left. You know, you already got a good finishing top 10 position where you are, but perhaps, who knows, if something else could happen and he could find himself with a top 5 before long.
Yeah, a lot of cars, and I kind of agree with you. I don't think, unless that battle for third gets closer, which it's starting to, I don't think we're going to see very much excitement out there, because I think a lot of drivers are looking at career bests and season best finishes. And at this point, with a race already this hard, with attrition this high, it might just be bring the cars home. Let's survive to live to see 2 weeks from now when we go to Montreal.
Just like that, we're getting close to having 20 to go. I blinked about a minute ago. I thought it was about 35 to go. So bringing the car home is going to be a very short-lived project here if the drivers tend to take that idea. So we'll have to see. Right now, I think Julian's just going to do what he's doing for the next 20 laps and hope that nothing really gets in the way of that, a caution or some other mistake on track.
20 laps to go here. We're doing about 22-second laps, so these are going to click by pretty quickly. They were just under caution at Daytona, so if you're watching that, there's still many more wrecks to go over there before that race gets exciting. So Give us a little attention here for the next 19 laps. We'll wrap it up, and then you can catch whatever wreck finish they decide they want to do at Daytona here in just a little bit.
Yes, I will be watching that one myself, Gary. I made a fantasy team and everything.
Oh, look at you!
Yeah, trying to see if I can get some good points and pick the right drivers. It's always interesting to try and pick that, but yeah, so we'll have to see how that race finishes out as well. But yeah, those cars definitely don't get the speed and the action that the Classic IndyCar Series has here. So very, very happy to sit with you and watch some good racing, like a pre-race show to what's coming for the real life one later.
Don't look too far behind Presti now. Giacometti creeping into the picture now, 1.4 behind Presti. So they have eaten into that margin, and I think that's the reason why is Presti is on 32-lap-old tires. Giacometti and Vogelsang are on 22-lap-old tires. And Presti might fall into the clutches here at Giacometti. We might actually have a battle for second, third, and fourth here in the closing stages if Giacometti could reel him in just a little bit more.
Yeah, last lap for Presti was a 23.4, and last lap for Giacometti was 23.1. Giacometti does another 23.1, and Presti also a 23.1. So, yeah, the pace is definitely a little bit different, but it has leveled out at least the last lap. But he's definitely going to need to do about a tenth and a half every lap for the rest of the race in order to really make an impact there.
Julian has scooted out to a 3.4 second lead right now. A pretty comfortable 3.4 second lead. Just needs to bring the car home now at this point. As we're watching now, riding over the head of Andrea Giacometti. Trying to reel in Andrew Aiken, purple lap, 158.4.
Yeah, I believe he must have just pitted then.
Aiken, yeah, he's on 2-lap-old tires, yeah.
Yeah, you're always going to get that purple lap at the end of the race there in this series with the fresh tires and the low fuel. That's a definite.
That's a Red Bull lap right there from the Formula 1. Giacometti now within 8 tenths, getting closer and closer and closer.
Yeah, we definitely didn't see this kind of formulating earlier, Gary. I mean, it seemed like Presti was just going to kind of hang out with Julian, especially because Presti was running such great laps in the first stint of this race here. I definitely thought he had the pace to run up there with Julian, but it seems that the tire wear perhaps has eaten into Presti's run here, and these other two drivers behind him are starting to take advantage.
Now, one of the things that Lewis said on the broadcast when Hunter Ingrave was trying to run down Daniel Falkingham and the Elite Racing League race here is catching him is one thing, passing him is another. It's pretty clear Giacometti is going to catch Presti here with 10 to go, but can he pass him now?
Well, if there is a difference in the tire life, it does make the job slightly easier, but still at the same time, who wants to give up second place?
Right. This late in the race, too. This late in the race where Presti is started up front. He has been up front all day. He started, I believe he was our pole sitter. No, he wasn't. He started second. F-Tink was our pole sitter. But, you want to, on your first start, you got a front row start, first career start. Yeah, you don't want to be known as fading late in a race. And, we're watching right now. We've been riding with Giacometti, and Giacometti has caught him. He is there.
This is going to get very, very spicy with 6 laps to go here. I'm pretty sure that there's not a lot of options for Presti to hold him off, especially on the older tires. But I would imagine that he's going to try and make Giacometti do it low.
And not too far behind this, as I called it, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a 3-way battle for second because Vogelsang, as Giacometti and Presti commence the race, and Giacometti goes to the inside of Presti. He sends it Giacometti. Going to be into the inside, going to be a drag race off the corner. Vogelsang now will be in the picture, and this will be a 3-way battle in the final 5 laps of this race.
You definitely want to make the driver coming behind do it on the inside. You're going to have to make him send it across 2 lanes there on the bottom and clear them. You have a little bit more grip and stability like we were talking about earlier in the race.
Oh, look at that high line.
Pressey shut that door on the high side, but it really gave Giacometti a lot more of a straight line run. The same exact way. Yep, this is the exact same way that Altena passed him. It's almost like he set him up to do it again.
Here comes Vogelzang to the inside of Pressey. Pressey trying to claw and keep dig those fingernails and do as everybody.
Too low.
Oh, geez. Oh.
Pressey hit that first lane, and that's where the banking stops.
That's
right
where your car wants to get loose off the corner, and maybe you saw a little preview of that. But on the outside, Vogelzang sends it again. Pressey clawing, biting, trying to do everything he can do to hang on to that bottom step, and he has lost it, and he fades now to 4th as Giacometti looking for a career best finish in a while. He's going to be in 2nd place with 3 to go. Vogelzang is now 3rd in the bottom step of the podium, and Pressey fades to 4th. Juan Altena is down the backstretch, coming off of 3 and 4 now, looking at 2 to go for his first career win.
Now, you have to just wonder if Pressey made the right call here. Did he pit too early? Did he try and do something a little bit different? Does he not quite understand the undercutting rules of this league? Not rules, but
yeah,
strategy of the league. It's very, very difficult to try and come in early and hope that your tires last throughout the rest of the race, especially if everybody's waiting till the last drop of fuel to take their pit stop and have the most amount of speed possible at the end of the race. So, and again, this is Pressey's first race, so he's got a lot of pace for sure, but there's certain little nuances about this car that are very easy to overlook. And if you make the wrong decision strategy-wise, you could see that he went from 1st to 4th.
Off of 4 for the final time, and for the first win of his CIS career, Juan Altena gets the win here at the Magic Mile in dominating fashion. Giacometti comes home in 2nd, and Vogelzang in 3rd. And I guess we'll just call the Luis Gonzalez Nunez driver of the race. That's normally goes to the driver with the most positions gained and probably the most perseverance shown. Andrew Aiken comes home in 7th, up 13 spots there at the very end. So we'll give him the LGN nod. But Juan Altena gets the dub here in New Hampshire for his first win here in the Classic IndyCar Series. Win number 1 of his career, 38th different winner in the in the Classic IndyCar Series elite fraternity of drivers. Here you go, Juan Altena with the win. Giacometti in 2nd, Vogelzang in 3rd. Those might be career best finishes for all those drivers in this series, so they're all going to be happy that they survived. Pressey, still not a bad finish. I mean, a fade there at the end, Andrew, but first start in the series, front row start, dominated good portions of this race with good pace, and he comes home in 4th. Not all too bad, all things considered, really.
Yeah, it's really, really great to see that everyone attained this track and finished where they were able to finish and get themselves their best career finishes, for sure. It was quite an exciting race, despite the attrition and everything. It was definitely interesting to see which drivers are able to take on this discipline and really show that they deserve to be up front.
Johnny Garrett survives the 5th. He had 10 incident points, so he's going to feel like that ping pong from the that electric company skit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's gonna be bounced. Felt like he's bouncing off of everything and had 10 incident points. So a race he wishes to forget, but he gets a top 5 out of it. Jan Hoffman, our winner from Michigan, comes home in 6th, 1 lap down. Might still be the points leader. I don't know. I think it's going to go to Julian. We'll see if the points are updated. Julian finished on the podium at Michigan, and with a win here, I think that might be the math to get you to the points lead. Andrew Aiken is going to be your Luis Gonzalez Nunez driver of the race. Where did he finish? Up 13 positions. And he's had a rough one, but he did have pace. And he likes these mile ovals. He comes home 7th. VJO, fortunately, an innocent victim, but did re-enter the race and brought home a very wounded car to 8th. Jared Ray Hutton in 9th. Not indicative of how high and where he was at points in this race. And for Andrew Stumi in 10th. Pretty much locked that position in about 130 laps ago. It's been a long day for him.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we got Mustanen in 11th, Randy Shoemaker 12th, F-Tink 13th, starting from the pole. Just needs to put the other half of this race together. Laura Dietz, a good intro, good debut. Unfortunately, that little issue of on the restarts. It's come back and hit everybody before. So again, just a learning curve in these cars. She finishes 14th, Lucas Santos at 15th, Rob Morganow comes home in 16th. Logan Simmons, not the day he wanted, 17th. Amon Lal, 18th. Strauss in 19th. And I believe that is going to be our 19-car field in today's race. All right. Get some... replays queued up, and we'll get to the interview room. All right. We'll cue out the music. And we'll bring in Milan. Here he is, finishing third today, Milan Vogelsang. Congratulations, Milan. A bit of a slugfest out there. A lot of attrition. A very difficult race. Track position mattered. But, man, you were in a group of cars for a good portion of this race. About 5 of you guys. One lap, one of you guys would pick up 3 spots, and another lap, someone would lose 2 spots, and then someone else would pick up another spot. And it was just a slugfest there, and it was right around 5th, 6th, or 7th. Were you out there having fun, or was it kind of frustrating that no one could kind of hold on to their position? Oh, and you know what? I need to take you off mute. Here. All right, now you're off mute. Now you can talk.
Yeah, it was kind of stressful, but eventually the group thinned out a bit and everyone settled with their position. So it was a bit calmer. I could drive my laps my own line, so that was good. And it was a bit tight at the end, so that was close. But I'm really happy with the podium.
So Milan, the short track seems to be a track that is difficult to drive this car. Is this a track type that you enjoy driving, or do you have a certain specialty of track configurations that you prefer?
I don't enjoy driving short tracks. I at the beginning of the race, I was complaining that I didn't have any pace and I didn't know the lines. So that's new for me. I just bought this track today, so I didn't have any experience here, so that was certainly interesting.
Well, that's interesting to hear about buying the track today, because I had mentioned at one point during the broadcast, typically our New Hampshire races across all sectors tend to be a little bit low attended, just because no one really has the track and no one really gets around to doing it or learning about it. So it looks like it was a good purchase for you today in order to get yourself in a position where you can finish on the podium. So nice job.
Yeah, it's fun. Certainly didn't regret the purchase.
Well, best career finish thus far in the Classic IndyCar Series with the third place here at a very difficult race, a very difficult racetrack. Any shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, anyone who wants to say hi to celebrate this podium?
Yeah, I guess Julian and the rest of the Alt and Out support team for providing with the setup. So that was great. Setup felt really good. I think you'll hear Julian about it in a few moments.
I'm sure we will. Well, congratulations. Good day for that setup. Finished on the first and third step of the podium with his best career finish here in the Classic IndyCar Series. Milan Vogelsang comes home with third. We'll see him in a couple of weeks at a place you're probably more familiar with at Montreal when we get there here in about 2 weeks.
Yep. Road courses are my best points, so hope to get a good result there as well.
And we will see you then. Milan Vogelsang comes home in third. Let's move on to Andrea Giacometti. And here is Andrea joining us in the booth. Andrea, a great race for you, up 6 spots from where you started, and a late run at there at the end that got you up into the second step of the podium. You just had slightly better tires than Presley did at the time, and you ran him down and caught him there in the closing stages of the race. Congratulations. Oh, gosh, we got to get you off mute again. Here we go. Now we're off mute.
Oh, hi guys. Thank you. I'm literally sweating right now. A difficult race, but very fun. So sorry for my English, not perfect. I was confident on the car, and I think I was quite sure of what I was about to do. It's like a blade in the last 30 laps. The last hint was fast. I don't know how to say fast. And luckily, I was able to pass Milan. That was almost a wall in the second stint, so I can maintain the pace and run down. The poor Jonathan was. I almost sad for him, but I wanted the podium. I'm quite disappointed I wasn't able to catch Julian, but too much time lost in the middle of the race. Still, I'm happy. I'm happy, and I have to. Well, I'll have a beer now. Finally, I'm not a road guy. I feel myself on the oval tracks, so I wasn't able to catch good results last season, and now it seem a bit more. Yeah.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, Andrea. So you were mentioning last season you had a little bit of bad luck there. I've been in quite a few races with you as well, and have seen your progression. And sometimes all it takes is really just getting experience with the car and everything. And now you have a season under your belt, and you're able to take what you learned from last year and move it forward. Now, my question for you is, I want to look back on that restart incident. And all the cars kind of going in every which direction. Were you able to find a nice hole to get through there? Was it a little bit of a heart rate jump for you, or
Uh,
how hard is it to restart these
really,
cars?
I was ahead of everything. I'm not sure if I maybe I've caused it because on the restart I had a bit of a sprint more than Garrett, and I lifted a bit and then on the mirrors there was a disaster. So I don't know if something is on me. Let the race direction watching the thing. So I then I don't know.
All right. Well, what we'll do is, again, for getting on the podium, you're allowed to shout out, say hi to anybody, friends, family, sponsors, that type of thing, and I'll make it easy for you. You could do it in your own language. So go ahead, in your own beautiful language, go ahead and make shout outs. So go right ahead.
Well, we are almost an international team, almost that. We have one foreign driver on our team since this season. So I want to thank Norsim Racing and all the support the team is giving out on me and all the other teammates who run other series. We like to thank the sponsor, Bruno Basso, Pit Stop. I like to thank a friend of mine, a photographer who I'm happy to have his name on my car. Not official for the team, but it's a friend of mine. So, and thanks to all my friends here and in the other series. So I hope to get more positive results on the season.
Well, congratulations on the podium. I'm sure you're going to be happy and go celebrate, go get that beer. A fellow Italian joining Michele Alboreto, who sat on the podium here in 1996. Back when Scott Sharp and Buzz Calkins joined him back there and for that race, for that first race of the 96-97 Indy Racing League season. Andrea Giacometti joins us on the podium tonight. Congratulations, and go celebrate.
Yoo-hoo! Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
A very happy Italian, and in a very happy Italian that there's going to be a lot of celebrating. So I hope he celebrates heartily. Of course, the Olympics going on right now in Italy right now. In fact, I think Team USA might actually be playing. I don't know. Team USA hockey might be playing right now. I don't know what the score of that game is. Let's get into the next driver, our winner, and bring him on down. I'm sure he's equally as happy off the schneid here in the Classic IndyCar Series. So close on so many occasions, and finally getting that dub today. Julian Alteno with the win, and Julian really kind of just dominated this day. A good setup and up front, clean air, and track position matters. Congratulations. Oh, we got to work on this. I keep forgetting the server mute automatically, bringing you into the channel. All right.
It's okay, Gary. You're not a professional. You said many times before you just do this for fun, right?
I am semi-pro at best, but I'm not as professional as you today with the win. Talk about that. It was pretty much, you dominated this day, and I don't want to say an easy win. There were times you had to work for it, but at the end there, you didn't really have to worry about anything, just hitting your marks and making sure that late caution didn't come out and bite you.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels really good to finally win one of these. Got a bit lucky, and well, I wouldn't say lucky. I got helped. Let's just keep it at helped. That many front runners got taken out or did dumb stuff. So yeah, that kind of paved the way for me to come through, and of course, qualifying really set the stage for that. Was able to stay in the front when those people made set mistakes, and yeah, just had to worry about Pressy, who did a great job. I've known him from the PEC 500. He races in VOR these days as well. He's a pretty competitive and skilled driver, so it's good to see him here. Apparently, he has the iconic setup at his disposal, so makes it even better that I beat him.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not pretending like I built the setup completely. I made a few changes to it. It felt pretty good out of the box as we received it through anonymous sources. Let's just say those things. No, but I don't know what kind of setup it is. It felt good, so that's all that matters. It was fast. It felt a bit too loose in practice, so I made some wing changes that I kind of prayed would just help me stay alive, because turn 2 was killing me in practice. Like I kept spinning and hitting the wall and everything. So I was really scared going into the race that I would probably kill the field there, because I was starting so far up the front. So I think my biggest achievement is not doing that today, if I'm completely honest. But no, the battle that I had with Nicholas was great. I had to use I wouldn't say the side pods or the bumpers. I guess I had to use the bricks on these cars to get past some lap cars, and also I believe Johnny earlier in the race. It's kind of how you have to race sometimes with these what's the terminology again in English? I keep forgetting. Progressive banking. That's what I was looking for. So you have to kind of shove your way into a lane and stick to it, and you just have to I guess assert dominance in a way to hold on to that line, and I had to do that. So got my hands dirty a little bit, but was able to get through the lap cars and Johnny earlier in the race. And luckily, I didn't make too much contact. Of course, the goal is to keep it as clean as possible. But just have to fight for the same piece of track sometimes, and that's how it plays out. Really enjoyed the battles nonetheless. I think I touched wheels with Pressy once or twice too, so it's all part of the game with this car especially. But just wanted to point it out anyway, that it wasn't exactly smooth sailing. Yes, the pace was good, like you say, maybe dominant. I don't want to throw those terms around, but definitely had to work for it. So thanks to everyone who kept it clean with me, and thanks to Jan, who was the first to congratulate me in the chat as well. So thanks to Jan Hoffman for that, and also the team. Rodin stuck around. I was asking him for the gaps to Pressy when he pitted, and I told him, as soon as he starts doing 2 or 3 laps under the 23-second bracket, just tell me. And then once he did that, he called me in, and I rejoined right behind, and then I just smoked him on the new tire. So thanks to Rodin for that perfect call as well. Aman for sticking around. Milan did a great job with the setup too. So all in all, a good day. I'll keep it short for you, because I know Andreas' English wasn't great. He is not his first language.
But he was having a good time. He was having a good time.
I know. We were talking about having a beer and everything, and I told him, you sound a lot like Andrea Stella. So and I also joked with him that I was using the Ferrari prototype IndyCar engine to get the win today. So. No, but jokes aside, Andrea drove a great race. It was really good to talk to him for the first time as well. And it's not so easy when you're so happy and you want to drink, and then you have to speak a foreign language as well. So I think I'm going to take a page out of his book. I'm going to get a drink as well, and then get to work tomorrow. So thank you, guys.
Andrew, any questions for Julian before we let him get on his way and do some shout-outs?
I'll cede my time, because I had 2 questions lined up, and through his soliloquy, he answered both of them. So
okay.
Good job, Julian. Congratulations.
Julian,
of course.
You are the points leader now after 2 rounds, up 9 points on Jan Hoffman and Giacometti now in third. Heading off to Montreal, a place that we know you're familiar with. Now I know that this is kind of a league you kind of dabble in. Now you're a points leader. Are we in it to win it this season?
I don't want to say those things, Gary. Putting me on the spot again. You like doing this, don't you? I mean, Montreal is a tough track, so it's very easy to be a hero or just be a complete idiot there in the wall. So we'll see. I'm taking it race by race. Usually the stronger guys in this series will run away with those kind of races. So I'm not going to make any predictions. We'll see it as it comes. And if the time does come that we need to fight for a championship, then, I'll take it, of course. But I'm not really taking that into consideration this early in the year yet. So we'll see whatever happens.
First win, 38th different winner in Classic IndyCar Series history over its 12 different seasons to get a win. Congratulations, Julian. Long incoming here and led 127 laps of 200 today. So, yeah, you did dominate just a little bit. You led more than half this thing. So go relax, go have a favorite beverage, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday before the work week starts. But congratulations, and we'll see you in a couple weeks maybe when we go to Montreal.
Yes, absolutely. One more thing, Gary. I know
Yeah.
I said I would keep this short, but I do have to point one more thing out. The last time on a 1 mile oval that I was in contention to win, there was a late race restart, and I completely made a fool of myself and spun on the inside. So I'm really happy we didn't get a late race restart again. That was last season, I believe, in the beginning of June or something. We raced, and I was just really happy that I didn't do that again. So that's the final thing I wanted to say. Thank you, guys. I'll see you next time.
All right, Julian, congratulations on the win. A mistake-free or mostly mistake-free dominant day for our winner. 38th different winner in Classic IndyCar Series history. First win and first win this season. Congrats, and we'll see you at the next one.
See you, Gary. Thanks, Andrew.
Andrew, it's always good to see a new first-time winner. Calling Julian a first-time winner is like, calling Juan Montoya a rookie when he won the Indy 500 the first time. Kind of rookie in name only, but Julian, first-time winner here. And another box he can check off on the old resume of getting a win here in the Classic IndyCar Series. And it's a series that's been around for a while, has steeped in some history and some tradition. And it always feels good to be among the fraternity of winners, of which you are.
Yes, that's correct, Gary. And I am happy to be in that record book as well in the Classic IndyCar Series. It took me quite a long time to get myself a win, and it was a win that I really, really fought for and deserves, beating Josh Chin. So that's definitely one. If I don't win again, at least I could say that I did win in the series, and I beat someone that on paper is a little bit more skilled than someone like me. So I'm very, very happy to be in that camp as well. And yeah, we're actually commentating on the Dark Horse Series, where we have right now an 11 different race winner streak, and it seems like when you and I get together, we get different race winners each week, and I wonder if the Classic IndyCar Series is going to start a record like that as well.
Well, we started 2 for 2, but remember last season, the way we ended it was pretty much kind of like Thomas with the dominance of Alex Palou did in the real IndyCar season. So I have to go back and see. We did have a first-time winner last season. I have to see when we had our last first-time winner and get you those stats for the next broadcast. But it's always good to have a new first-time winner. And we will go into the third race of the season looking for our third different winner. And that's always a good sign of a good, healthy series that can spread those wins out. And not always have the same person dominating, winning over and over, and then clinching with multiple races to go like Thomas did. Thomas kind of laid back in those last couple of races, like, you guys go right ahead. I got, I got this taken care of, and that is a nature of dominance sometime, but it is a good sign of a healthy series when you can spread those win outs. Well, thank you, Andrew, for being here in the middle of your Daytona 500 watching. You can go watch the race now. Team USA up 1-0 on Germany in the elimination round. No, wait, but they're still in the group play of the hockey tournament there at the Olympics. So I'll be watching that. But let's get on out of here and give everyone back their Sundays so they can get into the work weeks. We've got a big week coming up of racing here on the channel. We'll tell you about that here in just a second. That's going to be it for today. And once again, your podium here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the BJ Manufacturing 200. Julian Altena, with his first win in the series, comes home with a dominant win. Andrea Giacometti, the Italian, a very happy Italian, with his best finish in the series, comes home second. And Milan Vogelsang, also his best finish in the series, comes home third. Very happy podium all the way around. Join us again in 2 weeks for round 3 of season 12 of the Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series. The transition season, as we call it, as the teams of drivers head to Montreal for the 5th time in series history. Coverage starts around 2 p.m. Eastern time. Again, that's 2 p.m., 2:00 p.m. Eastern time. Remember, it's an all-new season. We're going to go through time changes and all that stuff. So as always, for the correct broadcast time in your area, I should have everything correct on YouTube right now, so you can find everything at youtube.com/@P1 Broadcasting. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not an easy one, so please help support P1 with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know your thought of today's race. If you enjoyed today's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, the bell for weekly reminders so miss out on more P1's other iRacing programming, including our Monday night iRacing open wheel doubleheader starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time, or join us again on Tuesday for our Tuesday night iRacing open wheel triple header. However, like your open wheel racing, it can be European style, short ovals, or 200 mile per hour pack racing. P1 has you covered on Monday and Tuesday nights this week. Today's New Hampshire 200 from New Hampshire Motor Speedway is proudly sponsored by BJ Manufacturing. BJ Manufacturing Company provides high-quality machining, welding, and fabrication work in Riverside, California. To learn more, check out their links in the description. Season 12, the transition season of the Classic IndyCar Series, is brought to you by the Sim Gaming Expo. Get ready for the ultimate simulation gaming experience. The Sim Gaming Expo is bringing all genres of simulation and gaming technology under one roof. Join us September 18th through the 20th in Chicagoland at the Schaumburg Convention Center to try out the latest gear from the biggest brands in the industry, meet your favorite streamers, and celebrate your passion for simulation with our incredible community. Don't miss out. To learn more, to get your tickets now, go to simgamingexpo.com and be a part of simulation gaming history today. Track cams for this race are provided by Whiplash Sim Cams. Get the most out of your iRacing experience with Whiplash Sim Cams. To learn more about Whiplash, like them on Facebook. You can follow them on X and Instagram. Links are in the description. For business inquiries and learn more about P1 and what we do, like us on Facebook. You can follow us on X and Instagram. You can follow all of our links, all of our social links on Linktree, and that link is in the description as well. So, for Andrew Wood, everyone here at P1, the Sim Gaming Expo, and the Classic IndyCar Series, I'm Gary Gotzo saying to all, happy Sunday. Thanks for watching, and to all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again right here in 2 weeks in Montreal for the next race of the Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series. Happy Sunday, and go Team USA. We'll see you then.